Commissioner Gary Black that's with us today, as well as distinguished members of the Public Service Commission and the General Assembly. It's now my honor to introduce our first speaker of the day. Governor Brian Kemp has been a champion, and his administration has been a champion for rural Georgia in so many areas, in economic development, education, and the topic that we're about today, rural broadband. So with that, please join me in welcome to the podium, Governor Brian Kemp.
Well, Dennis, thank you so much for that, and appreciate the strong showing of support that you all have here today, but also just what you've done over the last several years to be a big part of all of this. Certainly honored to be with Lieutenant Governor Duncan, Speaker Ralston, Commissioner Black, Commissioner Nunn, Senator Gooch, Kennedy, Representative Holmes, many other great members and partners of the General Assembly that are behind me and in front of me, as well as members of our Public Service Commission, and certainly our great partners with the EMCs that are with us today for this incredibly exciting announcement. As you all will probably remember, last month in my State of the State address, I spoke about our ongoing commitment to rural Georgia. In our first 2 years in office, this administration has joined leaders in both legislative chambers and across state government to champion growth in our rural communities, passing more than 50 health care bills that work to expand access to affordable quality care outside of the metro area, launching a rural strike team to bring new jobs and opportunity to rural communities from Camilla to Clayton, and passing budgets that include rural development as a top priority, including the budget my office put forward this year, which includes directing $10 million of funds for new rapid investments in rural Georgia roads and bridges, along with $40 million to establish a rural innovation fund to provide a readily available pool of resources that empowers rural Georgia businesses and entrepreneurs to start, expand, and thrive. We've spoken to farmers, entrepreneurs, economic developers, and local officials, all eager to see their communities grow and prosper in the 21st century. And what has become abundantly clear is that many of the economic, medical, and other challenges that are facing rural Georgia cannot be fixed with a top-down, one-size-fits-all approach. Time and time again, what has proven to be the most successful here in Georgia is when the government clears the way for local communities and private partners to join forces and forge a new path here in our state. And that's exactly what today's announcement is all about. For over 80 years, Georgia's electric membership cooperatives have maintained a laser focus on finding solutions to the challenges that rural Georgians face. And perhaps no year highlighted those challenges more than 2020. As the country faced down a once-in-a-century global pandemic, it became even clearer how critical access to broadband internet in our communities is, especially for rural ones, for better health care and education outcomes, for job opportunities, and something as simple as keeping in touch with loved ones. That is why my budget proposal this year included $20 million for this fiscal year and $10 million per year moving forward to boost access to rural broadband grants so local leaders can continue a growing and vital partnership with the private sector and quickly improve internet access for the people of rural Georgia. In 2019, I signed Senate Bill 2, clearing the way for our EMCs to provide broadband service in their communities. That bill was authored by Senator Steve Gooch, who joins us here today, and one of the greatest advocates for rural Georgia that has ever walked these halls, who unfortunately is no longer with us, and who I know so many of us miss dearly, Chairman Jay Powell. And I want to thank them both for their work on behalf of their constituents. We knew then that we needed more partnership in rural Georgia between local government, EMCs, and the private sector to find solutions and expand broadband access. That bill made room for the Federal Communications Commission to award more than $82 million in rural digital opportunity funds to Georgia's electric cooperatives to fund projects that grow broadband access. And today, thanks to that legislation and the hard work of so many leaders standing here with us, I'm proud to announce that Central Georgia EMC and Southern Rivers Energy will form a new partnership with Kinexon to provide high-speed internet to 80,000 homes and businesses throughout 18 counties in Middle Georgia. In the past year alone, EMCs have made a commitment to invest more than $200 million in broadband to ensure members have high-speed internet service. And with this announcement, 12 EMCs now, either directly or through innovative partnerships, are providing broadband access. This announcement represents the best of rural Georgia and what can happen here in the Peach State. EMCs, private partners, and community leaders working together on creative solutions to close the gap between those with internet service and those without. This is an important step forward, but make no mistake, we are just getting started. We have good soil in rural Georgia, and now is the time to keep planting. My office will continue to work alongside Lieutenant Governor Duncan, Speaker Ralston, Commissioner Black, Commissioner Nunn, our great local leaders and leaders in both chambers in this building to expand access and opportunity for the people of rural Georgia. Together, I know we can secure an even greater future, greater opportunities for hardworking Georgians in every corner of our state. I want to again thank you all for being here. Thank you for the hard work that you have done over the many years, quite honestly, that has allowed this to happen. God bless you, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to our Lieutenant Governor, Jeff Duncan.
Thank you, Governor, for those words, and thank you for continuing to prioritize rural Georgia. When we think about creating economic opportunity for all Georgians, broadband access is a foundational component of that success. Internet is the interstate of today's world, and we cannot reach our full potential if our students, entrepreneurs, and medical providers don't have access to that digital highway. For the past 10 months, we have all learned the importance of the internet, whether it be at a doctor's office, on Main Street, or in our schools. High-quality internet is more important than ever to each and every one of us. By not having broadband and the appropriate infrastructure to deploy it in rural areas, we are missing out on the ability to keep intellectual talent in our local areas, slowing their economic growth opportunities every day. But today we are taking another exciting step in closing the internet gap right here in Georgia. There are a lot of people in the state Senate that have worked hard on the issue of rural broadband, many of whom serve constituents every day who do not have access to broadband. But there is one senator who has poured his heart and soul into this issue throughout his time in public service, both as a county commissioner and during his time in the state Senate, and that is Senator Steve Gooch. Thank you so much for your efforts. Also grateful for the work of Senator Kennedy, and I know this project directly affects his district, and thank you so much for your commitment to your district and to those looking for expanded internet service. This partnership between Central Georgia EMC, Southern Rivers Energy, Kinexon, and Monroe County would not have been able to form without Steve Gooch sponsoring Senate Bill 2, as the governor had mentioned, allowing EMCs to have the legal clarity to get into the business of partnering to provide broadband. Senator Gooch and the entire Senate envisioned broadband partnerships, big and small, just like the one we're speaking of today. It's the patchwork of local hometown partnerships across the state that is bringing economic growth and prosperity to our most rural and underserved areas. The lack of broadband in rural communities has been critical for years. COVID-19 and the closure of our classrooms and businesses have made this especially apparent. Many of you know that my goals as Lieutenant Governor is for us to achieve the goal of becoming the technology capital of the East Coast. This is not just an Atlanta story, this is an all of Georgia story. And we know that the access to high-speed internet is a fundamental piece of that very important puzzle. This network will have the ability to allow our rural students to succeed in their educational pursuits, provide an avenue for small businesses to access the technology, and free businesses from the necessity of locating only in metro areas. We wouldn't be here today if not for the commitment of EMCs to partner and invest in their local communities. In addition to providing electricity in recent years, EMCs have been intently focused on helping find solutions to the broadband challenges facing rural Georgia. With today's announcements, 12 EMCs are now either directly providing or in partnership to provide broadband to their members. And in just the past year, EMCs have committed to invest more than $200 million in broadband to ensure their members have high-speed internet service. I applaud the diligent work of all the partners involved who are willing to dedicate their efforts and resources to make this project a reality. I hope this will mean that more rural broadband announcements for unserved areas in the future, and look forward to many more announcements just like this here today. I'd now like to bring my friend and colleague, Speaker David Ralston, to speak.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you all for being here today for this celebration, because that's truly what this is, a celebration. We are marking today an historic investment, not only in rural broadband, but the future of this state. I'm honored to be joined by Governor Kemp, Lieutenant Governor Duncan, and several members of our General Assembly. But I want to recognize my friends, Representatives Susan Holmes, Robert Dickey, and Dale Washburn, who represent much of the area that we're talking about today. These members are truly champions for Middle Georgia, and I'm proud to be standing with them today. I also want to thank our friends at Georgia EMC, Oglethorpe Power, and all the partners here for accommodating our legislative calendar and having this event here at the Capitol. Today's announcement by our friends at Central Georgia EMC, Southern Rivers EMC, Kinexon, and Monroe County represents a transformative leap for some 18 counties and 80,000 families and businesses in Middle Georgia. We're not talking a step forward. This is a leap. This investment of more than $200 million will bring the latest generation of fiber optic, high-speed broadband to the doorstep of every EMC member in this region. When we started our House Rural Development Council in 2017, it quickly became apparent that for rural Georgia to move forward, we had to have access to high-speed broadband, whether it is telemedicine, online learning, or e-commerce. High-speed broadband is a critical infrastructure need and is foundational to all the other work that we have to do. I want to thank our House Rural Development Council members and their leadership, including co-chairman Representative Sam Watson and Rick Jaspers. I also want to thank Co-Chair Emeritus and House Appropriations Chairman Terry England. But today I'd like to thank and honor a dear friend and great leader who sadly left us all too soon, but for whom, if it had not been for him, we would not be here today. And that's the former House Rules Chairman and Rural Development Council Co-Chairman, Jay Powell. We are honored to have his wife, Deidre, with us today, and I'm pleased that she could join us for this important occasion. Jay worked with my senator, Steve Gooch, to carry Senate Bill 2 in the House. That bill is one of the major milestones that brings us to today. Chairman Powell was a leader, and like so many of our colleagues, was totally committed to the idea that opportunities and prosperity should not be determined by your zip code. From Camilla and a proud son of South Georgia, Jay Powell was the kind of visionary who could see over the hill. Jay would have known how transformative today's news is, and I think he would have loved it. So let me again thank and congratulate everyone who joined together today to make this announcement possible. This is truly a great day for our state and a great day for the rural part of our state. May God bless you all and our great state and nation. Thank you very much.
I'm Michael McMillan, President and CEO of Southern Rivers Energy in Barnesville. Southern Rivers Energy is a member-owned electric cooperative in Barnesville, serving more than 21,000 meters in 9 counties across middle Georgia. Our electric service territory is the definition of rural America. And according to the Georgia Broadband map developed by the Department of Community Affairs, more than 66% of locations on our lines are unserved, meaning they have no way to access high-speed internet. The average household makes about $48,000. Our counties consist of mainly Title I schools, and on average, 20% of people live below the poverty line. Our communities face challenges under normal circumstances, but the pandemic and the subsequent shutdown shined a spotlight on one in particular: the lack of internet service. We've struggled for years with poor connectivity, but looked at it as just another one of those things that many rural areas lack, like traffic lights, chain restaurants, and department stores. But when schools closed and our children's only access to education was via the internet, it became crystal clear that quality internet at an affordable price is not a luxury. It is essential. In addition to leveling the educational playing fields for students in rural areas, access to high-speed internet is essential for businesses, rural hospitals, clinics, and economic development. Electric cooperatives brought electricity to rural areas in the 1930s and in the early 40s, when no one else would. The current internet crisis in the 21st century is a version of just that. Until Senate Bill 2 was passed in 2019, the role that electric cooperatives could play in the expansion of broadband was unclear, although many of us were already doing our homework and preparing for what came next. We have been researching possible business models and talking with potential broadband partners for almost 2 years. Our members have been asking us to help find a solution for much longer than that. And now we can finally tell them the wait is over. Southern Rivers Energy is proud to announce its partnership with Kinexon to design and build a fiber network that will help our communities thrive for decades to come by providing smart grid capabilities and fiber-to-the-home internet service for all of our members. This project will provide new broadband service to more than 15,000 of our members who currently have no options for connectivity. Southern Rivers Energy will invest approximately $53 million to construct more than 2,100 miles of fiber that will strengthen our electric grid and improve reliability. Kinexon will invest a total of $6.5 million in electronics to provide broadband service to all of our members with speeds up to 1 gigabit per second. We are confident that we have found the best partner in Kinexon and the best business model that will allow us to continue focusing on our core mission of providing reliable, affordable electric service, while Kinexon uses its expertise to provide high-quality internet to all of our members at a cost they can afford. This is not just a partnership with Kinexon. It's cooperation among cooperatives like Southern Rivers Energy and Central Georgia EMC. It's a collaboration with communities like Monroe County. And it's a promise to our members that we will always put them first. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce the President and CEO of Central Georgia EMC in Jackson, Mr. George Weaver.
Thank you, Michael. As Michael has alluded to, a lot of parties had to come together to make us be here today. And we wish we could thank everyone individually, but would like to take just a few minutes to thank some of the people that are part of making this happen. The federal government has approved the Rural Development Opportunity Fund, commonly called RDOF, that provides needed financial assistance to make the expansion feasible in the first place. Governor Kemp has alluded to the funds that he has proposed this year, and Governor, we're depending on you to get that through for us this year. Our local state senator, Burt Jones, has offered advice and assistance throughout the process. We began working with Representative Susan Holmes well before she ever thought about being State Representative Susan Holmes. I think it may have been 25 years ago. I don't want to give away my age, but I think it may have been over 25 years ago when we started working with Representative Holmes. We'd like to thank the Georgia Public Service Commission for all they have done for fulfilling their role. And if time allowed, there are many more people here today I would like to thank. Locally, Monroe County has pioneered a method to accelerate broadband by partnership of County Commission, Development Authority, and Board of Education. Monroe County Commissioner George EMC has volunteered untold hours to keep all parties together during the process, and this has enabled the expansion to begin in Monroe County as we build out to the other counties where we supply electricity. Now, each of the 41 EMCs in Georgia is different. No one structure, no one pattern for providing broadband fits all EMCs in Georgia. But this announcement today is the culmination of many months of 6 EMCs working together to show what we can do when we all put the time to make this work. Central Georgia EMC has been diligently working on a structure to offer broadband for over 2 years. We will extend a fiber network throughout our 5,300 miles where we supply electricity to monitor and enhance the electric control system. The fiber network will also offer a faster and more reliable data acquisition and data analytics system as we use more tools to make our electric system more efficient. The fiber network, importantly, will also be designed to provide broadband service. This partnership with Kinexon will allow us to continue focusing on Central Georgia EMC electricity and Fuel Georgia natural gas, while Kinexon takes care of the rural broadband retail product. With Kinexon, we have a partner that commits to provide high-speed broadband for every CGEMC member. We had previous offers that would cherry-pick or take parts of the system, but again, we have found Kinexon an experienced, proven entity that will work with us, that has worked with us for a flexible structure to ensure all members have broadband access. This joint $150 million investment in fiber and electronics will enable every CGEMC member to have a speed of up to 1 gigabit per second through a new fiber-to-the-home network. We will be offering broadband to at least 21,000 locations that currently have no access to broadband. On behalf of the Central Georgia EMC Board of Directors, employees, and members, we thank all of you here today that were part of this process. And I will now turn the podium over to Monroe County Chair Greg Tapley. Commissioner Tapley.
Good afternoon and greetings from Monroe County. I'm here today to talk about how the collaborative effort came together. I'm sure most of y'all know that this didn't happen overnight. Henry Ford said, "Coming together is a beginning." Staying together is progress, but working together is success. 4 years ago, the Monroe County Board of Commissioners, the city councils of Forsyth and Culloden, the Monroe County Board of Education, the Development Authority, the Hospital Authority, and the Forsyth-Monroe County Chamber of Commerce came together and formed a group called One Monroe. In the words of my pastor from Ingleside Baptist, Dr. Tim McCoy, he says, people are down on what they're not up on. What he's meaning there is that people need to communicate. They need to get together and talk. And that's what we did. We all made a concerted effort to meet quarterly, to talk about our visions, our goals, our projects. Every single one of us, every board, every council came together once every 3 months and sat together and talked about this. We built relationships and open lines of communication to facilitate working together on projects big and small. When most of us were elected, the lack of high-speed internet in much of the county was an all too common topic our residents would bring up. We're in the dark ages. 2 cans connected with a string will be faster than what we have. It's an internet desert out here. I believe that having worked together like we have, we've been able to create an oasis of internet service, and it's not going to be a mirage. Today's announcement, today's big success, is one that shows the importance of coming together, staying together, and working together towards a successful outcome like this one. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank some people for helping us get here today. I have a great group of commissioners that I work with as a team. Commissioner Georgia EMC from District 4, our chairman of our Internet Expansion Committee. Commissioner John Ambrose from District 3, and then the 2 other commissioners who weren't able to be here today, Commissioner Eddie Rowland and Commissioner Davis. We have an excellent Board of Education, number 9 in the state for the in educational abilities. We've got Dr. Mike Hickman, our superintendent. We've got Chairman Priscilla Doster, and we've got board member Greg Head, who is here today, who is also on our development authority. I want to thank our state leaders for all you've done to facilitate this. I want to thank our state legislators, specifically those named today, Senator Kennedy, State Representative Susan Holmes, State Representative Dale Washburn, and Chairman Robert Dickey for all they've done to support Senate Bill 2 and getting it passed to make it possible for the EMCs to be able to provide internet. The EMCs, we want to thank you for the work y'all have done, Kinexon for coming together as part of the group as well. But most importantly, the biggest thanks go to our residents, our customers, our constituents. They allow us, well, they have patiently awaited for this day, and they're the ones that allow us to represent them and ultimately support and fund these successes. Thank you very much. This time I'd like to introduce Jonathan Chambers from Kinexon to say a few words.
Thanks very much. It's great to be here, and I appreciate the invitation. I don't imagine that very many of you before today or this moment have ever heard of Kinexon. So I'm not going to give you our history other than to say for the last 5 years, my business partner, Randy Clint, and I have done one thing. We have worked with rural electric co-ops to help them build and operate fiber optic networks to their members all across the country. We have worked with over 200 co-ops, and every year we build tens of thousands of miles and connect hundreds of thousands of electric co-op members to the internet. Today, we are starting on a new venture for us, and it's one where I'd like to thank the leadership of George Weaver and Michael McMillan for the commitment we're making to each other. Because while we build and teach co-ops how to operate fiber optic networks, today we're investing in a network. We're investing in the 2 networks for Central Georgia EMC and Southern Rivers Energy. We're investing in the electronics, and the electric co-ops are investing in the fiber networks. That's the split of our roles and responsibilities. And I want to explain one thing with a few implications so that you understand how these networks are designed and architected, built, and operated. We like to say that we follow power. We think that the electric co-op infrastructure is exactly the right infrastructure for which to lay fiber and serve the members of electric co-ops. It was true in the 1930s with electricity. It is true today with high-speed internet access. By saying we follow power, what I mean is we build fiber networks, substation by substation, feeder by feeder, from the substation all the way to the end of the feeder to serve every single member of every electric co-op. Now, there are several implications about how we build. I'm going to mention three quickly. First, the networks we build are owned by the cooperative. The fiber, as I just mentioned, will be owned by the cooperative. We believe that fiber is a fantastic long-term investment for local communities. It's partly why we're investing our own money in this venture. And we think, just like electric membership corporations, electric co-ops over the last 80 years have benefited from local ownership, community ownership of the electric assets. We believe the same will be true in the future. Local ownership, community ownership of the fiber networks is critical to make these networks work. Second, I mentioned that we build to every member. We don't leave anyone behind. We don't care whether a member of a cooperative lives that last mile down an electric line. We will build a fiber network to them. The essence of universal service is what electric co-ops were built around, and it's what we do for a living. We don't care where you live. We don't care your level of income. We don't care anything other than you're a member of the electric co-op. Again, no member left behind. And finally, the networks we build are fiber optic networks right to everyone's home. We don't build hybrid networks. We don't build copper networks. We don't build hybrid fiber coax networks or wireless networks. We don't build networks that use spectrum or satellites. We invest in the best technology today and the best technology for the next decade, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. Fiber networks are the best long-term investment for the public, for private industry. It's what we invest in. That's the level of service, so that the level of service that every member gets is the same high-quality service at the same price to every single member. These are the best types of networks that are built anywhere in the world. And we think whether you live in the most rural part of Georgia or you live in town, you should have access to the same type of network, world-class networks. That's what we build. For the networks we build, there are no digital dirt roads to get to the information superhighway. That's our commitment to the electric co-ops we're working with here, the announcement we're making here, and hopefully in the very near future we'll be making other announcements in Georgia. So for now, it's my privilege to turn things over to the Honorable Tricia Pridemore from the Georgia Public Service Commission.
Thank you all. It's an honor to be with you this afternoon, representing the Georgia Public Service Commission, which is the primary regulatory body for our state's utilities. I'm here today with two of my fantastic colleagues, Commissioner Tim Echols and our chairman, Commissioner Chuck Eaton. Commissioners Jason Shaw and Bubba McDonald send their regrets, but I know that they are certainly excited about this wonderful news. So first off, thank you so much to Central Georgia EMC. Congratulations. Congratulations to Southern Rivers Energy EMC, the government of Monroe County, and Kinexon. It is very exciting for us as regulators who track these very issues every day to see such great success. These will be the 7th and 8th new EMCs that we'll see at the PSC, say that 5 times fast, since we started on the adoption of Senate Bill 2. So it is very exciting for us to see how we can leverage other utility assets to be able to assist, to really solve the needs of Georgians. Our role as regulators, first and foremost, is to create and ensure a healthy utility environment. But to do that, we also have to be very mindful of the needs of all of Georgians. And I believe that this arrangement, as well as others that we'll see in the future, will do just that. We also want to thank Governor Kemp for continuing to make this a priority in his 2021 budget. So thank you all so very much. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your attention to rural Georgia and especially to rural connectivity. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Pridemore, and thank you to all of our distinguished speakers today. This is truly an exciting day, and I would be remiss on behalf of the EMCs if I didn't get a little repetitive and say that we're here in large part because of Senate Bill 2 and the vision of Senator Steve Gooch and the late Chairman Jay Powell. They truly were visionary in helping to get that legislation through, and I want to thank House Rural Development Council and Speaker Ralston, who had the foresight as well to see this. And this is really a direct result of that, and I think there is more to come. I also think there's one more thing that's going to move the needle on rural broadband, and that happened recently at the Public Service Commission. Public Service Commission just went through a 5-month rate case on EMC pole attachments, and one of the parts of that ruling that we're real excited about is we're going to be offering to any broadband provider who wants to come into rural Georgia, $1 per pole per year for any new attachments that'll bring rural broadband. That's exciting. We really believe that's going to also move the needle, and we're looking forward to finding those other partners out there that want to work with us to continue to help solve this problem across the great state of Georgia. So with that, thank you all for being here today. For any of the media, the principals of this project are going to hang around. If you'd like to ask any questions of them, they'll be up here. Thank you for being with us today.